I've been wanting to start in on this this new series I wanted to start doing, where we talk about Mark Sargent, who happens to be one of the shining stars in the firmament of
this guy.
I'm not familiar with
the
this
flat
man.
Earth industry that we have out there.
Oh, what's the
this is
industry now?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a 7-minute video that he has where it's a Flat Earth Clues Part 1, where he's talking to the audience about, and this one's subtitled "Empty Theater," is what it's called here. And I don't know how much we're going to get through. We'll try to get through as much of it as we can, but this guy is absolutely fucking dumb. And I'm going to go ahead and let it play, and we'll see what he's going to say next.
Flat Earth Clues Part 1, The Empty Theater. This is part of a series of clues that can help you get your head around both the design of the flat Earth system we live in and who has been involved in the deception to hide it from you. The clue you have to look at is built upon another conspiracy that has been around for decades.
Oh, so a conspiracy within a conspiracy. That just made your shit not easier to understand, but more difficult to prove?
Ding, 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 we have a winner.
Namely, the space program. Most of those watching this are aware of the varying theories revolving around NASA. The Apollo program, the Space Shuttle, the International Space Station, and so on. The clue itself isn't based on one of these highly debated topics, but the lack of one. More specifically, motion pictures based on actual events. This, like others in the series, is something you can check out for yourself. Everything you need to reference this is online. To begin, think of all the movies involving space travel that you've seen in your lifetime.
Okay.
And there's quite a few of those.
There's quite a few of those, and we can break those down into two initial categories, the historical ones and the science fiction ones. Okay.
I've watched
good,
the
Kyle,
series,
because
guys. I've
that's what
watched the
he's doing.
series of movies. I've seen them many times. I know them inside and out. They are fact. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you had giant planet-sized moons, structures that blow up your entire world.
Kyle hits it right on the nose right there, where it's mainly divided into two things.
You'll start with the obvious. Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, just to name a few. In fact, if you go through your own personal list, you could probably come up with over 100 different off-world movies without breaking much of a sweat. That part is easy. For the second group, try to come up with space movies that aren't fantasy-based. You'll get a list that has...
Well, hang on. Just before we get to this list.
The Martian.
Which ones are not fantasy-based?
Well, there's The Right Stuff. There's First Man, Apollo 13.
I think what he's getting at is that we don't have a lot of motion pictures shot in space of us going to Uranus.
Red Planet.
Oh, no, he went with Red Planet.
He went to Red Planet? Really?
The end of that movie is fucking aliens wormholing a guy to their fucking culture.
How about John Carter? How about John Carter on Mars? That's
Oh, I love John Carter.
Highly underrated movie.
I fucking love that. Brad Bird, like, I feel bad for him because he did a really good job on that movie.
That was a good movie.
I like the dog that was super fucking fast.
Cool. I like them all. That was a great movie.
And the fact that who's the guy that played Green Goblin on the original Spider-Man?
His
name?
William Dafoe.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe was like, Virginia!
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Gravity, Mission to Mars, 2001, things like that. These films will usually take on a not-so-distant future theme, and where we could be down the road. And it's still a pretty good-sized list. These first two groups of films are encouraged by the authority.
Oh, by the authority.
Ooh, who's the authority?
So here's the they.
Okay.
We got our first hint at the they there. So.
Because they reinforce the globe model through assumption. The entertainment system demands that the globe view and solar system concept is a given.
How about math? How about math and fucking physics?
Math and physics. Those two big ones. Yeah.
I feel like he is basing his entire shit on assumption.
Well, yes, of course he is.
And this is part one.
But who's the authority?
There's so fucking many parts
I
of
want
this.
to know who the authority.
There are 22. This is part 3 of 22 in this
God.
guy's series.
I already
of
want to
fucking
fall
flat
asleep.
Earth
I just
stuff.
want to be like, dude.
Okay.
Therefore, the actual worldview must also be true. Or to put it another way, if you're using your suspension of disbelief as you watch a movie like, say, Gravity, then subconsciously you're reinforcing the movie right on top of the real world.
Don't
What?
even know what he's saying.
No, I've had like 17 beers tonight, and
Uh-huh.
I'm a very
He's
rational
one of these
person. But
Idiots who likes to use a lot of smart words and stupid ways that make it sound like he's smart.
Yeah, no, he's just talking utter shit right now.
Yeah.
that's about the best.
here's
I can
my
come up
thing.
with right now.
There's a lot of conspiracies, like we talked about coincidence. The flat earth, I do not understand. To have a flat earth, it literally means that you have to believe none of the laws of physics. Like none of them.
Yeah.
All
Not only that, not only do you have to completely disregard laws of physics and gravity,
Yeah.
but you have to think all observations are
You
complete.
can't believe your own eyes.
Are optical illusions. Basically.
Okay, if anybody
Yeah.
watching this is a flat earther, all you got to do is watch a boat sail away. Grab some binoculars.
Yep.
When they leave your line of sight, it's because they've gone over the horizon. So one of two things has happened. Either they fall to their death into outer space, or the world is round and they've gone past your view of observation.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And not only that, if you've ever been to a beach, you can literally see the curvature of the ocean.
I mean, it's very, very subtle, but you can
I just
see
don't
it.
understand how this is a theory. It's so easy to disprove. Get into a fucking boat and just go. And if you
How
go
about-
off, you die.
How about differences in shadow at the exact same time of day
Mhm.
across different parts of the planet?
How about when
Yeah.
we have a fucking lunar eclipse and you can see the roundness of the Earth and the fucking moon?
Mhm.
God damn it! Quit making sense. Let's let him say with some more stuff.
The more of these movies you watch and enjoy, the more the lines blur between what you want to believe and what you actually know. Watch enough movies about Mars, and you will be less astonished when NASA announces an actual mission to Mars. Same with the moon, other solar systems, and so on. Releasing the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey in 1968,
Which had to do with fucking monoliths.
And did it have to do with like
Yeah.
sentient AIs and shit?
Yeah, it was, and it was an
Which had to
incredible
do
movie. Yeah.
With, monoliths being there for progression of a species beyond what they currently are into what they'll become,
Yeah.
Which is the first monolith was discovered on Earth by the apes, which was when it happened with the Tool Age that happened. Then the second monolith occurred when they found the one on the moon.
Well, and not just that, a flat structure is one of the least found in nature, right? Like very few things in nature are completely flat. What is the perfect shape? What is the perfect shape in nature?
A sphere.
A fucking sphere, which
Yeah.
is why everything is a goddamn sphere.
And with going with the monolith discussion that we're having here with 2001, 2010,
It was.
oh my God, I've read so many fucking film theses from PhD film studies people about 2001.
Guy's just throwing a bunch of
Yeah, and you
nonsense
could,
together.
you could go on for hours just on those two films.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
right before the actual moon missions, was no accident. It took the greatest director of all time 5 years to make, and several people who saw the theater screenings claimed that many military groups were listed in the credits.
That tends to happen when you have...
Yeah. It's actually a requirement if you're going to reference any government organization. That government organization needs to sign off on.
Well, he's probably talking to, if you're
It's like
talking.
watching any movie where they have a member of the military showing up and they don't have above their pockets on their chest like U.S. Army or U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and their name above it. If it's just blank ass pockets, they did not have the They did not get signed off by the U.S. Department of Defense about that kind of fucking film.
Well, a movie like 2001 that's so futuristic, you're probably going to talk to multiple people about what they believe the future could be. Like, you're going to do research on what you think.
Yeah, there was.
And I implored this guy that made this video to go back and watch how 2001 was made.
Yeah.
Kubrick had to come up with new fucking technology for that movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he did so after talking to people involved in the space program who were actually working on shit.
And also, Arthur C. Clarke rewrote his fucking book after he started working with goddamn, I just said his name, but what the fuck with the guy that made 2001
Kubrick,
the movie. Yeah, Kubrick. After he started working with Kubrick, he's like, oh, that's a better idea. I'm going to rewrite my book entirely to make this shit work better.
Mm-hmm.
What are you
Come
doing?
the fuck on, man.
Only to be removed years later. But 2001 is just a side note of this clue. For those who really want to dig into Stanley Kubrick's hidden vision, I highly recommend the documentary Room 237.
Which had to do with the fucking the carpet pattern on the floor of the hotel in The Shining.
Oh, it's The Shining.
Yeah, that was about The Shining. Yeah. What does that have to do with... Never mind.
Never mind.
No.
He's literally just trying to lead you down a rabbit hole where if you're really fucking high, you're like, I've seen that movie. It's crazy. He's right.
Mm-hmm.
A link to it is below as well. Now you are aware of the first two groups of space films. There are those that contain generous amounts of fantasy, and those who try to paint our near future. These two groups are easy to find. The third group is a challenge, and again, that's where things get interesting. The moon missions concluded in 1972, and even though it's still considered the greatest achievement by mankind, no fact-based movies were made regarding it until The Right Stuff was released in 1983.
It's really hard to fucking shoot in space in the 60s and 70s.
So, what?
I think you're starting to get it here.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that it wasn't declassified till later too. I mean,
a lot of it was, yeah, but
we didn't get Apollo 13 until when? Like in 98?
Hey, I don't know about you guys, but something that I've watched on TV in my like mid 30s or something like that. I'm not exactly interested in going to the movie theater to pay for something that I got on television, and I can find it just about anywhere I wanted to look for it. Like, you don't exactly need to make a movie based on stuff that's available in public domain.
His logic makes no sense. Like, I watched Braveheart in 95, and I don't think that I hid the secret of William Wallace for how many hundreds of years. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, it took... Well, he's completely discounting the amount of time it takes to not only write, develop, green light, and finance,
he's also
film a movie. But
he's also buying into another conspiracy theory, right? That the Hollywood elitists are controlled by somebody else, by the government controls.
Of course, yeah,
so, I mean, he totally discounts the fact that it takes somebody to go, I want to make a movie about going to the moon. And then I got to find somebody who's willing to fund it, to your point. And then I've got to write a script. And then I've got to find funding. And I got to shoot the movie. And I've got to do all this. I mean, to make a movie about William Wallace, it takes somebody who says, you know what? I think people would like a movie about William Wallace. And then I got to find somebody who wants to write that. And then I got to sell it to the studio. I mean, there's this Hollywood elite controlled by the White House.
No, yeah. Like
put out propaganda.
A fast track for a movie is 2 years, and that's if it's the concept is already sold and financed to a studio.
All right, I'm going to let him speak some more, and then we're going to probably cut him off here in a second because we're getting to that point where it's like, you're not really saying anything else.
Just wait, please get to a point.
Yeah.
Now you might say that it had only been 11 years, and maybe it was tough to get the rights, and so on. But that's not what made the film interesting. The movie ran extremely long for 1983, coming in at 3 hours and 12 minutes. It was an exhaustive look at the astronaut selection process, the competition, and the training facility itself. But when the credits rolled 3 hours later, chronologically, they had only gotten to the low Earth orbit missions.
Yeah?
because there's a lot that went into the
That's
fucking
what
space
the
program
movie
up to that
was.
point.
That's what the movie was about.
The title of The Right Stuff means the pilots that had the right stuff to become
and
the
it totally
astronauts.
discounts. We didn't go back to the moon because we didn't see any need to. It became about low Earth orbit, you launching satellites and doing all the other things that became much more important to our national security and everything else.
Just for fun, Google The Right Stuff movie and see how many spacecraft you can find. It won 4 Academy Awards and did a great job at the box office, but the Apollo missions were never touched. The only other major motion picture that involved the actual moon program was Apollo 13 in 1995, a full 12 years later.
Now, we should be able to call bullshit on that. It shouldn't be the only other. You don't go from The Right Stuff to Apollo 13 without having other moon landing.
But wait a minute. It makes no sense. That's like saying I watched Saving Private Ryan, but they didn't talk about the Kaiser, therefore World War I never happened.
Good point.
Apollo 13 only covered a single moon orbit, and no landing or close-up reference to the previous missions below them.
Because shit went wrong on the way to the fucking
moon. Didn't
moon.
the first mission light on fire and kill all the astronauts?
Was that Mercury? Was that the program where they had the entire cabin filled with oxygen and everybody died in that
on
fucking
fire?
fire?
Yeah. No,
I can't remember if it was Mercury or Apollo.
I gotta watch
that was Apollo 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Apollo 1.
Yeah.
You saw First Man? Good movie?
Yeah. First
Man,
Man's pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
All right.
And after 1995, that was it. Nothing. Hollywood is known for leaving no stone unturned, with reboots and sequels to nearly everything. Yet in almost 60 years, there has never been a single moon mission movie based on actual events. Hundreds of science fiction films reference in it.
Tomorrow, I'll start writing it.
You hear what he said there at the last line there. It's like hundreds of science fiction films reference the moon landing. But yet we don't have a single movie about the moon landing because we already have video from the actual fucking moon landing.
Because he doesn't understand how a movie works. You need a compelling story. We all know the story. Like, they just made The First Man. I don't know how it ends, but, I mean, we know the story. One small leap for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Well, it ends with them going to the moon. That's, I mean,
it's not
spoiler, I guess.
No.
But, so, but there was a film before Apollo 13.
You know the truth. People don't like stories.
It was for all mankind in 1989.
Okay, as long as it's not Capricorn 1, I think we're okay.
And honestly, there's a reason why First Man tanked and Apollo 13 did well, because people don't like stories that end with success. They like stories that end with everybody almost dying.
Right.
Yeah, people love drama.
First Man didn't do well because it was a bit of a slog. Good movie, but really.
Well, I also think a lot of people have lost.
It was kind of dull.
I also think people have lost their fascination with space program, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, sadly.
But I mean, really, the majority. There were several films, but they were documentaries.
Gravity did really well.
He goes on past this, and I'm gonna just cut it short for everybody out there. The fact that Hollywood hasn't made a moon landing video or movie is the reason that we live on a flat Earth. And that's his fucking spurious reasoning for this first video that we have on this flat Earth nonsense segment that we're going to be doing.
Please don't tell me he makes money, because you know what? If that's the case, we should all just make some weird fucking videos about why unicorns really exist and they're actually giraffes, and we can all make tons of money.
Nope, sorry, Brian. He does make money doing this.
Oh, fucking kill me.
A whole lot of money.